Welcome to Fantasy Audiobook, Plunder Countless Talents, I Became a God. Chapter 81. Kaguya's eyes were still bright and firm despite the surging cold air, and the sword in her hand fell on the opponent without hesitation. No, impossible. Arctic Destroyer couldn't hold on any longer, and finally wailed. His body instantly turned into a pile of broken ice, and fell to the ground helplessly. After Kaguya confirmed that she had killed the opponent, she also cut off Lu Jianing, who was lying on the ground and still immersed in an erotic dream, and then returned to Lin Luo's side in a blink of an eye. Master. Kaguya fortunately lived up to her command. Me too. Black Emperor also recovered after being released from the fusion state, and hurriedly expressed his stance. Lin Luo laughed and gave them a look of approval. Then he took off his coat and put it on. Kaguya, you should take a rest. Let me handle the rest. As Lu Jianing's life completely disappeared, a choice appeared in his mind again. Your S-level talent Plunder is activated. Please choose one of the 4 target attribute values, talent effects, skill effects, and soul power to plunder. Talent effect. Lin Luo chose to seize the talent without hesitation. As a surge of power was injected into his body, he immediately felt that he had a new powerful talent. The level of this talent definitely exceeds S level. Check the talent. Talent. Personal mask. Level. SS level. Effect. Condensing a personal mask with one's own personality, spirit, will and other most intense pursuits in life, to summon one's own patron saint. Patron saint will only appear when the host is in danger. The more deadly the danger the host encounters, the more powerful the summoned guardian saint can be. You might as well just say you don't have this talent. Lin Luo smiled bitterly and shook his head. Why were the 2 SS level talents he grabbed so weird, and couldn't be used directly? But there is no point in complaining. Lu Jianing's guardian saint just now is still very powerful. Not only does it have group damage, but it also has control. If it hadn't been for being approached by a fleshy and seriously injured assassin like Kaguya, Black Emperor form, he would never have been easily defeated. Perhaps this is some kind of restriction on SS level substitutes. Lin Luo sighed softly. He tried to summon his patron saint directly, but found that there was no response. He thought for a moment and said to Kaguya, come on, try to chop me in the neck. Kaguya was stunned for a moment, obviously not understanding why her master was so crazy, and said with a confused face, Master. Why do you do this? This is how my new talent is stimulated. Only when I encounter fatal danger can I summon a new substitute. Lin Luo was also a little speechless. Kaguya thought for a moment, then raised the knife and slowly slashed at his neck, finally stopping 1 centimeter in front of his neck. No response. Nothing happened. Lin Luo and several of his stand-ins present stared at each other. The scene was a little awkward for a while. The Lord of Prayer spoke at this time, Master. Maybe it's because your substitute didn't feel that you would be in danger, so he didn't show up. After all, Kaguya has no intention of killing you. Lin Luo frowned slightly. What a troublesome way to summon. Black Emperor, come here and hit my legs with all your strength. Don't be afraid. The worst is to drink medicine. You must have the idea of crippling me, don't cheat. Black Emperor hesitated for a moment, then suddenly moved his body and punched Lin Luo in the thigh. Lin Luo watched helplessly as his fist approached, suppressing the instinctive reaction of running away in his heart. Finally, at the moment of danger, time stopped. The several stand-ins around him, the surging white mist, and the Black Emperor who was about to punch him on the thigh, all seemed to be fixed. Lin Luo found that he could not move either, and only his consciousness could still move. At the same time, a powerful force emerged from the depths of his soul. A majestic voice suddenly sounded in his heart. I am you. You are me. I can already feel it in your heart. For the path you insist on. For the justice you believe in. And the courage to face 1,000 people with cold eyebrows. Even if it leads to hell in the end. Even if there are infinite challenges and difficulties, they are waiting for us in the future. We must also use our invincible will and strength to witness everything with our own eyes. It's now. Gather together. Personal mask. All the emotions, spirit, will and ambition in Lin Luo's heart were condensed and sublimated at this moment. It quickly transformed into a cold white mask and appeared on his face. Then it broke instantly. Circles of blue flames ignited around him. The majestic voice in my heart sounded again. Now, remove the anger buried in your heart towards the injustice of the world, as well as your ambition and desire for the future. With my real name, let's roar out together. Lin Luo was instantly blessed and roared violently. I summon you. Come out. Open black lens bracket savior close black lens bracket. A stand-in wearing a red dress, with a slender figure, wide black wings on his back, and a dark horn mask on his face appeared behind him. A monstrous will is condensed in this substitute, as if even if the world is destroyed, he can turn the tide single-handedly and rebuild a new world. At this moment, the time when the world stood still resumed its flow. Black Emperor's iron fist was about to hit Lin Luo's thigh, but it was instantly deflected by an invisible force. Lin Luo shouted hurriedly, "Stop everyone!" Black Emperor and Savior heard the order and stopped moving at the same time. Lin Luo hurriedly looked back and saw this new substitute, who looked like a combination of a gentleman and a devil. The dress and temperament are both gentlemanly and elegant. The ferocious mask on his face and the 2-meter-long jet black wings spread out behind his back give him an evil aura that has returned from hell. He saw Lin Luo looking towards him, bowed slightly and said respectfully, "I am your guardian saint. Open black lens bracket savior close black lens bracket. At your command." Lin Luo nodded with satisfaction at the stand-in's attitude. If the person summoned is as rebellious as Hu Jinming's stand-in, he will be disgusted. Savior, strictly speaking, it can be regarded as his first normal SS level substitute. In comparison, the fetal movement thing is really unreliable. He happily summoned the attribute panel of his new substitute, Savior. Substitute, Savior, level, SS level, strength, 160, agility, 150, intelligence, 140, defense, 130, HP, 10,000. Energy, 350. Energy recovery rate, 1 point per half hour. Growth, 200. Action distance, 50 meters. Overload existence SS level avatars are too powerful, and they require continuous energy consumption just to appear in reality. Every hour of existence in reality will consume 1 point of energy. Savior 23% form, all ability status is 23% of the complete body, and the energy consumption is also 23%. Blooming flowers on the other side instantly restores all health points of the host and removes all negative conditions on the host. Consumption, 120 energy. Cooling, 1 day. New world instantly condense the power of space to forge small world to resist all attacks, or detonate small world to attack, causing 1,500 points of true damage in a spread range. Consumption, 1 to 50 energy. Cooldown, no cooldown time. Eternal Paradise, all friendly units within a radius of 100 meters will have all their status increased by 30%. Suppress enemy units within a radius of 100 meters that are hostile to the host, reducing all their status by 20%. Consumption, the minimum consumption is 1 point of energy per second. The stronger and larger the number of amplified friendly units, the more energy consumed per second. The stronger and larger the number of suppressed enemy units, the more energy consumed per second. Cooldown, no cooldown time. The attribute panel of this SS level stand-in, Savior, is much longer than the information on all his previous S level stand-in panels. In order to prevent too many substitutes and talents, everyone will forget that every time you get a new substitute, you can check the previous substitute's abilities in the comment area. After Lin Luo read it all very seriously, he couldn't help but applaud and praised, "Not bad. It deserves to be an SS level. Just looking at the attributes, it has surpassed most S-level avatars." The 3 skills are very comprehensive. Flowers on the other side, although it consumes a lot of money and has a long cooling time, it can directly restore me to full status. It's like an extra life. The second skill, New World, is self-contained in attack and defense, and can also control the strength on its own. Once the energy catches up and the range of real damage is unlimited, the damage will be astonishing. The third skill, Eternal Paradise, combines group amplification and suppression. It is simply a top-notch auxiliary skill. Completely worthy of SS rank. Compared to Liu Jianing's Arctic Destroyer just now, it is not inferior. It even feels more powerful. The only drawback is that a short burst is okay, but if you want to have a long and enjoyable battle, it requires too much energy. Lim Luo can understand this too. Someone once said a very classic saying on the internet in a previous life. There are no garbage talents, only garbage users. There are no garbage substitutes, only garbage hosts. The ability of the stand-in determines the lower limit of his strength, and how the host uses the stand-in determines how powerful the stand-in can be. Lim Luo felt that he understood all the skills of Savior. But there was only one question in his mind, so he asked directly, I can understand overloaded existence, but what does Savior 23% form mean? The Savior's majestic voice immediately sounded, Master Host. This is because of the danger you just suffered. I judge that I only need to use 23% of my strength to relieve you. Succubus Queen, in the form of a little loli, asked curiously, you mean you can block this iron lump, Black Emperor, with only 23% of your strength? The dark wings behind Savior flapped lightly and said calmly, yes, using 1% more power is a waste of energy. Black Emperor couldn't listen anymore. He clenched his fist suddenly and said angrily, new guy. You actually underestimate me. Are you here to show off? Savior suddenly raised a slender arm, and a transparent space condensed into shape instantly. The power of New World suddenly activated. You can't even break through my defense. What qualifications do you have to fight with me? Stop. That's enough. Succubus Queen, don't give me any fire. Lim Luo directly flicked his finger on the forehead of this troublesome little loli. Hey, master, hit me. Sister Kagaya, help me. The little loli's forehead was red. She pretended to cry exaggeratedly and hid behind Kagaya. This team has too many people and it's hard to lead them. Lim Luo couldn't help but hold his forehead, feeling that he had more substitutes now, which was not a good thing. Now he is beginning to miss the simpler days when there were only 3 substitutes. The quiet Black Emperor with 1 point of intelligence, the sensible and capable Lord of Prayer, and the well-behaved and quiet Kagaya. Now there are Succubus Queen, a naughty little loli, and the arrogant Savior, and each stand-in has high intelligence and distinct personalities, and no one is convinced by the other. What if they temporarily lose consciousness like when they fell into the pink fantasy in a suburban factory? Why don't they mess up? No, just in case, I have to arrange for someone to take care of it for me. Lim Luo pondered for a moment and then made a decision, listen carefully. If I lose consciousness temporarily, you will all listen to the arrangements of the Lord of Prayer. Do you understand? As soon as these words came out, Kagaya, Black Emperor, and Succubus Queen naturally had no objection and responded respectfully. Okay, Master. Me too, Master. Mayor listens to you. Don't hit me. Savior's eyes flickered under the demon mask. After a moment of silence, he said calmly, Host, I obey your orders. When the Lord of Prayer saw that Savior expressed his stance, he smiled and bowed to Lim Luo and said, Dear Master. Thank you for your trust. I will do my best for you. Lim Luo nodded. Although this substitute, Savior, was arrogant, he still obeyed his orders. Just as he finished thinking this, the Savior spoke again. Host, since your crisis has been resolved, I will go back. After the Savior finished speaking, he disappeared without waiting for Lim Luo to answer. Lim Luo couldn't help but smile bitterly and shook his head when he saw this scene. A doorway to a secret realm shrouded in white mist. Now the outdoors is a paradise for Zerg. But those ferocious Zerg monsters did not dare to approach the few people who were arguing here. This team is difficult to lead. Yu Taiji looked at the 4 people who were at war with each other in front of him. He couldn't help but rubbed his brows helplessly, and sighed silently in his heart. At the entrance of the secret realm, Lu Yu and Yu Taiji stood on both sides, while Keitaro stood with Junfan and Ying, obviously preparing to advance and retreat together. Lu Yu, with a cold face at this time, said to the 3 of them, We agreed at the beginning that Lao Yu would get 40% of the profit, I would get 30%, and each of you would get 10%. You feel like your wings are getting tough now, don't you? Do you think the 3 of you can compete with us if we work together? You actually started asking for redistribution after only 2 days of cooperation. Keitaro stood in front of the other 2 people and said calmly, Yu Taiji had the information at the beginning, and you were strong and capable, so we naturally agreed to this income distribution. After a pause, he then changed the topic, but now we are more familiar with our talents and substitutes, and they play a greater role in dungeons and secret realms. It is also very important to increase our revenue sharing ratio. Is it reasonable? Lu Yu cursed loudly. You are white-eyed wolves. You have grown up with us and obtained resources, and now you want to rebel, right? Junfin snorted coldly and walked out from behind Keitaro. What does it mean to grow up by relying on you? Don't say it so harshly. We can grow up without you. Lu Yu's face darkened, and he shouted angrily, Lao Yu, look at these rebels. You can also say a few words. Yu Taiji was standing on the edge, and when he heard what he said, he couldn't help but curse in his heart. Are they rebels? I think you are the biggest rebel. The three of them just proposed to increase their salary, but you are thinking of becoming my boss. Be careful what you say. Who do you think is a traitor? We are not your subordinates. When Zhen Fan heard this word, his face suddenly turned sinister. Several tall dark figures behind him slowly stood up. Neither Keitaro nor Eagle spoke, but behind them, a golden eye and a humanoid stand-in covered with mosaics began to slowly emerge. What, you want to have a fight with this heavenly master, right? Lu Yu was a great heavenly master with a high heart and arrogance. At this time, he saw that these three substitutes had been summoned, and he was immediately ready to show his true skills directly. Enough. Yu Taiji stood between the two groups and shouted loudly. Behind him, the little Lolita in blue dress appeared instantly holding the hour and minute hands, and a mysterious force directly suppressed the four people present. At this moment, the four people's faces showed a look of fear at the same time. Since everyone is not convinced by each other, it doesn't make much sense for this team to continue to cooperate. Keitaro's eyes flickered, and he opened his mouth to calm down the atmosphere and said, Brother Yu, we have no objection to you, but Lu Yu's tone of voice is really unpleasant. The three of them didn't want to break up with Yu Taiji. After all, the future information he provided was too important. Behind Lu Yu, a stand-in for a majestic old man slowly appeared, automatically offsetting the pressure brought by the Lord of Time. He cursed in a low voice. My words are unpleasant, don't you see what good things you have done? Lu Yu wanted to rant a few more words, but was quickly stopped by Yu Taiji's hand. Lu Yu, it's okay. Let's finally get to know each other. Let's talk and do things. Maybe we can cooperate with each other in the future. When? He then looked at the three of Keitaro and said calmly, since everyone has their own ideas now, our team has naturally lost its cohesion. But everything in the world is for profit. We will act separately from now on and meet at the top. As for cooperation, I think we can still have it. After listening to what he said, the four of them calmed down a little. They are together only because of interests. Unfortunately, they are together because of interests, and they are separated because of interests. They are all successful people in society, and naturally they will not have meaningless fights over trivial matters. They each released their substitutes just now, just to compete for a greater say. Now, they are all interested in the cooperation method that Yu Taiji will talk about next. When Yu Taiji saw that they were all looking at him, he naturally wouldn't show off. He said directly, there are 13D level energy generating secret realms in Hangzhou. In addition to the Black Emperor's Holy Land in the forest, there are still 12 remaining. I want 2, and Keitaro has 2. 1 for each of you. The remaining 4 compete fairly, but even if they clear the same secret realm, they cannot fight to the death. If you want to conquer the secret realm on your own, it has nothing to do with me. If you want a perfect strategy to improve efficiency, then after completing the secret realm, you must take the initiative to share 10% of my loot. In addition, I will go to Keitaro's house every other week to share the rest of the information. After Lu Yu listened, he considered it for a moment and immediately said, okay. I agree. He is not a fool. If he objects now, it may make Yu Taiji lean towards Keitaro's side. After listening to this, the three of them looked at each other and quickly agreed to this new method of cooperation. Then, let's take care of each other from now on. Take care of each treasure. Several people said goodbye to each other and soon walked into the thick white fog. Only Yu Taiji was left standing at the door of the secret realm, with a trace of helplessness in his eyes. I am arrogant after all. Which of these 4 people is not a dragon or a phoenix among men? How can they be willing to live under others for a long time? It's a pity. If I had been more prudent and improved my own strength first, then I might have had a better outcome. He naturally understood that the main reason why the team was disbanded now was because he could not completely suppress the four of them due to his own strength. Master, you have done a great job. The Lord of Time floated beside him and comforted him thoughtfully. Yu Taiji smiled and rubbed her little head. Don't worry. I won't be depressed. At least I have gained something, it's just lower than expected. Let's just go back and find our old teammates. They are still reliable. Although their talents are not as good as these people, I know them well. One person and one loli stayed with each other, and soon disappeared into the thick white mist. Lin Luo asked the Lord of Prayer to summon the Zerg, and after disposing of Lu Jianing's body on the ground, they discussed it with him. Lao Qi, the method of summoning my new substitute is too passive. Is there a more convenient way to actively summon him? It would be best if he can fully unleash his strength. The power of Savior is undisputed, but it has to be passively summoned every time when it is in danger, and there is a high probability that it cannot summon its complete form, which is really troublesome. As for Savior's concern about wasting energy, does he seem like a player who lacks energy? However, Lin Luo naturally understands in his heart that it is not up to him to decide how much strength the Savior can exert, and he has no decision-making power. You must first come up with a more stable summoning method. Otherwise, if you fight with others in the future, you have to wait for others to kill you and then fight back. That's too embarrassing and embarrassing. A perfect way to summon. After hearing this, the Lord of Prayer began to think, and murmured in a low voice, it must be controllable, but it must also cause enough fatal damage. If you cut yourself, it will be ineffective and troublesome. After he pondered for a moment, his eyes suddenly lit up. Master, I understand. Aren't you going to kill Guo Dao who is hiding in the inspectorate at night? It just so happens that we can pick up something by the way. That thing is deadly enough. Lin Luo reacted immediately and said with a smile, haha. Lao Qi, I understand, you are still reliable. The Lord of Prayer flattered me calmly, wise master. I believe you can come up with this solution quickly without me having to tell you. I didn't expect that there would be such a terrifying monster in the fog, but the player suspected a being, Black Emperor, proved to us that this monster is not invincible. Reporter Yao, this video you brought back is so precious. Gotta spread the word. Promote this video to everyone. The hero of Hangzhou. No, he is the hero of all Chinese people. Old Shu, tell me, do you want to invite this hero to join the special combat force we are planning to set up above? I think your idea is great. There are experts among the people. Comrade Yao Muxi, Comrade Wang Xiaozhong, Captain Li, thank you for your hard work. You have completed this mission very well. It's not hard work. Serve the people. Very good. The Chinese people need brave warriors and comrades like you. Take this video out with our disaster prevention troops. As soon as an area is cleared, we will immediately promote this video to the people who have restored communications. Now is a time when people are panicked, and this video can just improve our morale. In a military base on the outskirts of Hangzhou, the dense fog near here has been dispersed a lot. A huge conference room. Many big guys were talking excitedly here. In the past few days, they have sent out a large number of troops and experts to engage in contact combat with the Zerg in the fog. They have obtained a lot of precious information about these enemies that were originally unknown in the fog. Everyone, be quiet. Now let me sort out the current situation for everyone. A middle-aged man wearing a straight military uniform interrupted everyone's discussion at this time, and waited until everyone took their seats and calmed down. He took out a piece of information and began to explain it carefully. On the display screen behind him, a PPT combining pictures and text began to appear simultaneously. In the fog, our Hangzhou troops came into contact with a total of 46 types of monsters. 21 of the monsters can clearly show some characteristics of the Earth's insects, and the remaining 25 have separated from the Earth's species category. For these extraterrestrial beings, only by using forms of attack other than thermal weapons can you gain 4 times the experience points when killing them. Compared to these monsters, the composition of the mist gas that has caused us greater trouble has been analyzed. The oxygen content is 5% to 8% higher than our normal air, and the remaining components are similar to those of Earth's air, but there is an unknown energy in it that we have not yet figured out. After the live Zerg monsters were captured in the laboratory and placed in normal air, the life response decreased 5 hours later. Relevant experts speculate that the dual factors of unknown energy and oxygen concentration are the main reasons for the huge size of these monsters. On the other hand, we have also found the weakness of this fog. That's the fear of fire. Just use the flamethrower to clear the fog. In addition, there is another more important thing. I believe everyone has heard about it. That is, at 3 o'clock this afternoon, our troops will enter Hangcheng for the first time to rescue the trapped people. Along the way, we must not only publicize the brave and fearless heroic deeds of Black Emperor. We must also recruit talented volunteers to join our fighting team. Code name for this operation: Bright Sword. Above, when the middle-aged soldier finished his serious report, all the participants stood up at the same time, stood in a neat military posture, and then saluted. May China prosper forever. God bless China. After Lin Luo finalized the action plan for the night, he took Wei Yuji and Queen Succubus and got into the car driven by Lord of Prayer again. As for why there were only Kagutsuki Princess and Succubus Queen in the car, while Black Emperor was flying in the air outside the car to follow. Isn't it purely because beauties are eye-catching, and chatting with them can also make people feel happy? Haha, of course this is a joke. The main reason is that Black Emperor is wearing a huge armor and cannot fit into a car. Moreover, Black Emperor flies outside and has two very important functions. The first effect is that they occasionally encounter several cars blocked in the middle of the road, and often the drivers and passengers inside are already dead. At this time, it was Black Emperor's turn to take action. He directly stepped forward and violently moved the car away to clear the road. The second role is to act as a bodyguard. When Zerg monsters appear in the fog, he is responsible for killing them. Lin Luo was accompanied by a beautiful woman, a handsome man drove the car, and a handsome man escorted him. It was a pleasant journey. He looked out the window and began to remember. I remember that there should be a secret realm near here that can generate energy. It seems to be called the Crying Grave. The ashes of the dead abundant in it can also restore energy. The recommended level for entering the secret realm should be the same as the Holy Land in the forest. Close black lens bracket almost. Everyone is at a low level now and is trapped in the fog. I guess no one has come here to clear it yet. I just happened to be passing by today and did it too. Lin Luo now has another stand-in, and he is also a big consumer of energy. The energy generated by Holy Land in the forest may not be enough to waste even if it is really used. What's more, in the future, even if you don't use these rare props that can restore energy, if you sell them, each one will be worth millions. When he thought of this, he spoke to the Lord of Prayer. Lao Chi, turn right ahead. The car was traveling on a foggy road, because the visible distance was only 10 meters, so the speed was not very fast. After driving for about half an hour, they came to the women's clothing street. One of the stores was in a worse situation. A huge silver cube unreasonably swallowed up the entire store. Landlords and store owners should be crying. Lin Luo smiled happily. Then he walked into the secret realm full of expectations. You're lucky. The weeping grave hasn't been wiped out yet. As Lin Luo and several stand-ins entered the silver secret realm, the light and shadow in front of them changed. In a blink of an eye, they had arrived in a small room. The surrounding walls, floor and ceiling are all white and smooth, except for a transparent floor-to-ceiling glass directly in front. Outside is a path extending into the distance, with towering valleys on both sides. Snow fell all over the sky, dyeing everything a gentle snow-white color. Lines of information about this secret realm began to appear on the light screen on the left wall. Secret Realm. Weeping Grave. Recommended entry level, 30 to 35. Limited number of people entering, no limit. There is a burial place for heroic souls deep in the Forgotten Canyon. The 6th Legion of the Temple is stationed here, responsible for guarding the rest of the mourners. Close black lens bracket. However, when the team responsible for transporting supplies came here again, they found that the 6th Army's camp was empty. Close black lens bracket. Only from the depths of the many tombs, a woman's plaintive cry could be heard. Close black lens bracket. After Lin Luo read the news, he looked outside the transparent glass on the front. I saw a long and narrow road leading to the depths of the canyon. And heavy snow is falling from the sky, dyeing everything in sight a clean and gentle white. In the past life, many of these rare secret realms rich in energy were monopolized by powerful guilds. I have not visited this crying grave. Lin Luo murmured in a low voice, a perfect guide to this secret realm. It's been too long and I can't remember some details clearly, but it doesn't matter. Now, even if I forget some details and encounter an unexpected situation, I can still break through the situation with my strength. Confirm that one person has entered the secret realm. With his confirmation, the room in front of him instantly faded and disappeared. Lin Luo and 4 stand-ins appeared in the middle of the icy Forgotten Canyon Road in a blink of an eye. There is a tall wooden sign erected on the right side of the road, guiding the direction of the Tomb of Heroes. Master, Mayor is so cold. Succubus Queen, this little loli is wearing a JK skirt and white stockings. She is fine outside, but she is a little shivering when she enters here. Lin Luo glanced at the other 3 substitutes again. Although Kagaya wears a little more clothing than Succubus Queen, it is obviously not warm enough. As for Black Emperor, who is physically strong and wears armor, he obviously doesn't know what cold is. The Lord of Prayer, who had been wearing a big black robe, saw his gaze and shook his head slightly to indicate that he was not cold. Fortunately, I took Kagaya to buy some girls' clothes and jackets at the mall, so I saved enough money to go out and buy them. Lin Luo took out 2 sets from the space crystal and asked the 2 girls to put them on. The 5 of them decisively braved the wind and snow and walked towards the Tomb of Heroes. Let us go together to see what is in this crying grave. After walking for about 5 minutes in the wind and snow, the group arrived at a basin surrounded by mountains. At the entrance, there is a row of sharp horses in the middle of the canyon. It's just that without the soldiers guarding them at this time, these sharp roadblocks have lost their meaning, and they were violently pushed away by the Black Emperor. When the 5 of them walked into the Knights Templar camp, they saw no one inside. It's like all the knights guarding here have evaporated. Yeah, these spare armors and weapons look to be in good quality, but it's a pity that they are all plot props, otherwise I would just take them away. Lin Luo walked into a camp that contained a large amount of ordnance. He couldn't help but salivate when he saw the neatly arranged armor and various weapons. However, the secret realm cannot be so kind and give free equipment to players. These equipment can only be used in this secret realm and cannot be taken out. Moreover, they are all armors that do not suit him, and the weapons are very ordinary, not as good as his guardian short blade. Just as Lin Luo was opening his eyes here, he suddenly heard cries of resentment coming from outside the silent camp. As soon as his heart moved, he understood that because of their arrival, the plot had begun. Sure enough, not long after, there were sounds of bones rubbing together outside. Master, the enemy is coming. The Black Emperor, who was guarding the door, turned around and informed. You ask those enemies to wait at the door, don't be so anxious to reincarnate. I'll give them 10 consecutive blows first, and then send them on their way. Lin Luo didn't take the enemy seriously and drew a golden 10 lottery wheel of destiny and directly summoned the wheel of destiny. The plot hasn't started yet, so he can't summon the carousel of fortune. This is the moment he's been waiting for. Lord of Prayer, please grant my old wish. Understood, Master. After confirming that Lao Chi had fulfilled his wish, Lin Luo no longer hesitated and directly crushed the golden lottery ticket in his hand. As the 10 pointers on the fate wheel began to rotate, Black Emperor also rushed out, enthusiastically using his iron fist to make those monsters stand at the door first and wait. As the pointer on the fate wheel slowly stopped, 10 rays of light of various colors rushed out. Lin Luo, who has sharp eyes, immediately spotted a distinctive bright light among them, and immediately cheered in surprise, all blanche. There's a 100% chance that it's finally my turn. He immediately looked eagerly at the brilliant diamonds suspended in the air. And when he saw this, Lin Luo couldn't help but exclaimed, SSS level Ascension Crystal. It's like a heifer flying on a plane, and the cowhide goes to the sky. Lao Chi, you won't use your Yangshuo to help me draw crystals, right? That's not necessary. It is also an SSS level crystal, and naturally it is divided into 3, 6, and 9 grades. And Ascension Crystal is undoubtedly the best. The chance of getting an SSS level crystal is only 1%. It is also the top 1 Spirit Ascension Crystal. This luck is simply incredible. This is a miracle crystal that can directly upgrade an A-level talent to S-level and condense a substitute. It would cost at least 1 billion Chinese coins to put it up for auction on the market. Master, it is my honor to serve you. The Lord of Prayer secretly wiped a sweat for himself. Fortunately, the result of the 10 consecutive draws this time was good. Last time I drew 2 S-level life extension pills and I got scolded for it. Accompanying you is like accompanying a tiger. Lin Luo first put away the Ascension Crystal. Then I looked at the rest of the lottery results. Grade B Life Extension Pill blue. Grade C Magic Crystal Defense green. Grade A Super Crystal blue. Grade B Super Crystal blue. Grade D Bond Crystal green. Grade C Frenzy Crystal green. Level C Magic Crystal Agility green. Grade C Life Extension Pill green. Level C Magic Crystal Agility green. Well, the overall results of this lottery are pretty good, and the quality is okay. Thank you for your hard work, Lao Chi. Lin Luo first put the life extension pill in his backpack and waited for an opportunity to auction them all. Then used the funds obtained from the auction to purchase stamina potions in large quantities. The value of this thing will increase more than 10 times in the future, which is faster than the appreciation of the Fate Wheel lottery ticket. However, everyone's level is not high now, and there are too few stamina potions that have been spawned, so it is not urgent to temporarily stock up on stamina potions. In the future, he has to find a reliable person to do this specifically. After all, he doesn't have time. He stares at the game interface every day to grab stamina potion. Improving his own strength is what he cares about most. Magic crystal that improves defense and agility, and bond crystal that increases movement distance. There is no doubt that they are all used directly by Black Emperor. After all, most of the time, he does the dirty work. You can't ask the horse to run and not eat grass at the same time, right? Stand in. Black Emperor. Level. S level. Experience value. 14/100. Strength. 214 10 for normal people. Agility. 212 up pointing arrow 8. Intelligence. 11. Defense. 67 up pointing arrow 4. HP. 5080. Energy. 15/50. Energy recovery rate. 1 point every half hour. Growth. 100. Action distance. 28 meters up pointing arrow 3 meters. Take by force every time you attack an enemy and cause damage, you will randomly take away 3/10 of the opponent's attributes or abilities. Consumption. 7 energy. Cooldown. No cooldown time. Black Emperor, who has gained new power, is obviously more powerful. Even the screams of the monsters outside were a little louder, accompanied by the "Ola Ola" sounds from the Black Emperor from time to time. Lin Luo then put the remaining 2 A-level and B-level super crystals into his backpack. They can restore 30 and 25 points of energy respectively. It was originally a very good thing, but now he has a large number of God-given crystal fragments in his hand. Immediately being able to obtain the ashes of the deceased, which can also restore energy, this joy will naturally become less. However, these props that can restore energy will be hard currency in the future, so naturally the more the better. After Lin Luo finished handling these 9 crystals, he finally took out the SSS level Spirit Ascension Crystal again and considered it secretly in his heart. This SSS level Spirit Ascension Crystal can provide 70 points of talent experience. If I use it, it will not upgrade the talent Plunder to SS level. It's better to send it to my brother first, just in time to upgrade his talent to S level, activate the substitute, and facilitate the subsequent plan to rescue him. After he made his decision, he placed the Ascension Crystal back in his backpack, and then looked outside the bustling tent. Okay, next, let me recall again, the perfect strategy that can maximize profits. The main task of the players in this secret realm is to assist the Second Temple Legion, who came to investigate and defeat the necromancers of the witch cult who did bad things in the Tomb of Heroes. According to the normal process, as long as the plot is triggered, retreat outside, join up with the Second Temple Legion, who are coming from behind, and then attack the Tomb of the Heroes together and defeat the witch cult. Receive the reward from the Second Temple Legion. In this case, the difficulty will not be particularly high. It is just suitable for players of level 35 to 40. Of course, the final reward will not be high either. In addition, there is a strategy that is more dangerous but also more profitable. That means punching that Second Temple Legion and kicking that witch cult. Just take advantage of them and kill them all. The specific method is to go out and stop that Second Temple Legion first, allowing that witch cult enough time to refine the heroes in Tomb of Heroes and then come back to kill that witch cult alone. In this way, that mourner's ashes finally obtained do not need to be distributed to the Temple's Second Legion. Perfect. After Lin Luo figured out the strategy, he went out with Wei Yuji. As for Succubus Queen and Lord of Prayer, they were not combat substitutes and simply disappeared into the air. Let's go, don't be obsessed with fighting now, fight out first. The three of them used each other's horns and quickly rushed out from among these undead monsters, which were not very powerful. Several necromancers from the witch cult in the Tomb of Heroes also saw the scene outside through the water mirror technique. It's amazing. Those young people were so vigilant and they actually escaped before Abomination arrived. One of them, an old man with a haggard face, praised in a hoarse voice. No, actually only one of them is human. The others are all heroic spirits summoned by him. That kid is not simple, he is actually a destined one and he can summon multiple heroic spirits. It's incredible. Quote. A charming female voice that was incompatible with this gloomy environment then sounded, and a voluptuous woman wearing a dark red wedding dress and an invisible red hijab was seen walking out from behind a few people. Gia, don't worry about them for now. Our main task is to refine the bones of these heroes and transform them into the ashes of the deceased. That's right, just let the annoying little mouse run away. Half an hour later, the Second Temple Legion of several hundred people was like a long dragon, entering the trail in the middle of the Forgotten Canyon. Hush! The leader, Second Legion Commander, Reinhardt suddenly pulled the reins and stopped the horse. Under the flying snow, two thin figures were walking on the path ahead. This made him, who was wary by nature, narrow his eyes slightly. He looked at the girl wearing black armor next to the young man and murmured, "A heroic spirit. It's really rare. Sir, I have the latest information on the camp ahead." Reinhardt couldn't help but frown slightly when he heard what the stranger was shouting. He waved his hand and asked the two guards surrounding him to let him over. This man should be an adventurer who came to collect the bounty, and behind him was one of the strongest legions in the empire. This young man was not taken seriously by him. After the young man approached, he bowed respectfully, and then whispered, "Great Master of the Templar Legion, please allow me to express my highest respect to you." Reinhardt nodded, and then said calmly, "Tell me the news you know, and I will reward you accordingly depending on the importance of the news." The young man raised his head, revealing a delicate and handsome face. He hesitated and said, "This information was actually discovered by my attendant. It is better for her to report it to you." Before Reinhardt could speak, the girl wearing pitch-black armor beside the young man slowly walked toward him, which made him frown slightly and scolded in a low voice, "Just stand there and report." However, as soon as these words came out, the girl suddenly exerted force on her feet, and suddenly like lightning, she slashed at the hoof of the white horse under his crotch. And the young man also unsheathed his short blade at the same time, and countless sharp sword energy burst out instantly. Reinhardt was worthy of being the commander of the Templar Legion. Almost as soon as the girl took action, the figure had already jumped up from the horse and made the wise decision to abandon the horse. Hiss! The white horse howled miserably, and after his legs were cut off, he knelt down weakly on the ground, and his blood instantly spilled red on the surrounding snow. After Reinhardt landed, he didn't feel any distress or hesitation at all. The golden fighting spirit on his body burst out instantly. He was about to attack the girl when he heard a strange word. "You will be unable to move for 3 seconds. Then an invisible force instantly suppressed his whole body. He could only watch helplessly as the heroic spirit girl's pitch-black sword slashed hard on his golden fighting spirit armor, sputtering out countless golden arrows. Fighting fragments. The attribute panel of Reinhardt, the commander of the Temple Legion, was immediately inspected by Lin Luo. Open black lens bracket Reinhardt close black lens bracket. Head of the Second Temple Legion. Open black lens bracket level, 35 close black lens bracket. Attack power, 600. Agility, 170. Defense, 380. Health value, 50,000. Fighting Chi, 10,000. Experience value, 320,000. Skill, 1. Fighting Chi armor. Concentrate the substantial Fighting Chi on the body surface, and convert it into the corresponding Fighting Chi armor according to specific skills. It increases the defense by 100, and absorbs 20% of the damage. It can be continuously regenerated, and only the Fighting Chi is exhausted, will disappear. 2. Fighting Spirit Shield. While Fighting Spirit armor exists, it can resist 80% of the damage with its own Fighting Spirit, and each point of Fighting Spirit can resist 3 points of damage. 3. Fighting Chi Explosion. Overload the Fighting Chi in the body, improving one's overall status by 15%, but the Fighting Chi consumption speed increases by 50%. 4. Fighting Skill. Flame Devouring Wave Sword. Fire Attribute. Fighting Skill, causing fire attribute damage with attack power multiplied by 2, consumption, 200 Fighting Spirit. Cooling time, 10 seconds. 5. Fighting Skill. Dazzling 100 Blossoms. Stab out 15 swords in an instant, causing physical damage with attack power multiplied by 1.3, consumption, 150 Do Chi. Cooling time, 5 seconds. 6. Master Swordsmanship. The effects of all swordsmanship are increased by 20%. In an instant, Reinhardt also understood the sinister intentions and daring actions of this assassin. The other party actually wanted to take the head of his general in the midst of thousands of troops. As the long black sword struck the Fighting Spirit armor on his body, his face suddenly turned red and he immediately activated Fighting Chi Explosion. More powerful power surged out of his body, but he still couldn't break free from the shackles. Calm down. The damage done by this girl is not high. I can definitely hold on with Fighting Armor and Fighting Shield, but he will definitely not be able to hold on for long with this control skill. And the surrounding Templar Knights were certainly not fools, and immediately came to support their Legion commander. However, the terrain here was narrow, and only a dozen knights rushed up, and were instantly knocked off their horses by countless sword energies and green tentacles. Despicable witch cult assassin. If you have the ability to fight me head on. Reinhardt roared angrily when he saw this scene, and the fighting spirit in his body became more and more violent with his emotions. His eyes suddenly opened slightly and he looked at another newly appeared figure. The man was seen holding books in his hands and wearing a black robe, looking like a scholar, and the power that restrained him obviously came from this new enemy. The second, heroic spirit. How is that possible? While Reinhardt was in a daze, he felt that the suppressive force on his body was weakening. Just when he was excited, he suddenly felt that the power in his body began to weaken rapidly. Not good. There's something wrong with this assassin's knife. Lin Luo was blocking the other Templar Knights who came to help, when suddenly a new force began to be injected into his body crazily. At the same time, a series of notification sounds began to ring in his ears. Your substitute Kagaya, Black Emperor form, launched Raising Blade against Reinhardt. Successfully captured 2,410 points of fighting spirit. Your stand-in Kagaya, Black Emperor form, launched Raising Blade against Reinhardt. Successfully captured fighting skill. Flame Devouring Wave Sword, 30% power. Your stand-in Kagaya, Black Emperor form, launched Raising Blade against Reinhardt. Successfully captured Master Sword skill, 30% power. Your substitute Kagaya, Black Emperor form, successfully captured the Fighting Shield, 30% power for you. Your substitute Kagaya, Black Emperor form, successfully obtained 180 attack power for you. Your substitute Kagaya, Black Emperor form, successfully stole 15,000 health points from you. Get away. Just as Kagaya's sword continued to fall, it collided directly with Reinhardt's sword. It turns out that he finally broke free from the suppression of the Book of Wishes. Reinhardt directly used Dazzling Flowers to force her back, and then his figure flew toward the black-robed, heroic spirit like lightning. As long as he killed this controlling, heroic spirit, he was completely confident that he could handle the two enemies. At this moment, Lin Luo suddenly let go of his defense, and the empty door opened in front of his heroic spirit. Reinhardt was slightly surprised and a little confused as to what this young man was doing. But the sword in his hand stabbed directly into his heart without any hesitation. The sharp long sword carries golden surging fighting spirit. Get closer to Lin Luo's undefended heart inch by inch. At this moment, cold sweat began to flow from Lin Luo's forehead. Finally, When the sword was less than a few centimeters away from his heart, a majestic voice suddenly sounded in the void. I am the Savior. Who dares to challenge my majesty? Quote question mark question mark question mark quote. The long sword in Reinhardt's hand was instantly blocked by an invisible force, making it impossible to advance any further. At this time, behind Lin Luo, a tall and slender figure with wings on its back rose again. How is it possible? The third heroic spirit. Can't the destined one only be able to contract one heroic spirit? The scene beyond his comprehension made the young Temple Legion leader feel wildly shocked. At the next moment, a sense of crisis crazily surged into his heart. Just as he was about to retreat, Kagaya had already come forward with a knife. And that demonic whisper sounded again. You will be unable to move within the next second. Lin Luo has just finished making a wish. The Savior's slender arms suddenly raised. Groups of transparent space fluctuations instantly appeared around Reinhardt's head amid his horrified expression. Explode. New world. Plundering blade. No. The sky full of wind and snow exploded instantly. The young Legion commander wearing golden fighting spirit armor in the center was swallowed up instantly. In the Tomb of Heroes, several necromancers from the witch cult who also saw this scene in the Forgotten Canyon through water mirror technique were a little dumbfounded. What the hell? Is this person, Lich Bride, from our side? Then why didn't we receive the notice and sent undead monsters to kill him? Isn't this a mistake? The Lich Bride, who was wearing a bright red and glamorous wedding dress, was silent for a moment, and then said in a daze, I didn't receive the notice either. Could it be that the witch cult was worried that we were no match for these Imperial Eagle dogs, so they secretly a messenger sent? Gia. It seems that everything has been arranged from above. We should rest assured and refine the bones of these heroes. Damn it. Legion Commander, hold on. Kill. Rescue our Legion Commander. Fight. The Templars charge. The huge explosion shook the snow on the ground and the wind and snow in the sky away at the same time, and for a while, the vision was filled with white mist. Seeing their Legion commander trapped in the enemy's siege, all the Templar knights charged like crazy. When they rushed into the white mist, they were knocked out again by the violent explosion. When the white mist completely dissipated, they saw that their Legion commander had fallen under the sword of the girl in black armor. Congratulations, player. Your stand-in Kagaya, Black Emperor form, killed Reinhardt and you gained 5,760,000 experience points. You get 900% experience points by killing NPCs after level 8. Wish. 100 Battle Close Black Lens Bracket Effect. Gain 200% experience points by killing monsters. Lin Luo glanced at them lightly, and after confirming the death of Reinhardt, he quickly returned with several of his stand-ins. Killing the NPCs in these player camps not only results in relatively small experience points, but also does not yield any loot. Except for Lin Luo's own efforts in plundering some skills and attributes, the benefits were not huge. But if you want to get enough Ashes of the Mourners, in the end, you can only do this. The cost-effectiveness of fighting the remaining Templars was too low and meaningless, so it was the best option. Without the help of leaders and players, these Templar knights can hardly pose much a threat to the necromancers of the witch cult. When Lin Luo returned to the camp, he found that the undead monsters that originally attacked them were kneeling on the ground respectfully, as if to welcome his arrival. One of the fat undead was disgusted and said intermittently in an unpleasant voice, "The noble messenger who came from afar, please follow me, go in, those. Leave it to us, to deal with the Imperial Eagle dogs outside." Quote question mark question mark question mark quote. Lin Luo originally just wanted to hide himself and then lead them to fight. Unexpectedly, his behavior seemed to cause some misunderstanding among these witch cult tomb robbers. Is there such an operation in that strategy? Damn, I can't remember clearly. I can only adapt to circumstances. Lin Luo was brave enough to be an expert anyway, so he followed directly after seeing many undead creatures making way for them. Lao Chi, how much energy did we spend on killing that person just now? The Lord of Prayer pondered for a moment, and then replied smoothly, I used Book of Wishes to imprison that person, which cost a total of 130 energy points. Kaguyuki Princess spent a total of 78 energy points to attack and plunder. Savior spent a total of 150 energy points using skills. A total of 358 energy points were spent. We still have 1682 spare energy points left. After hearing this, Lin Luo smacked his lips. It seemed that the Legion commander was very powerful, and it took 130 energy points to imprison him for a few seconds. Of course, if he hadn't ordered Savior and Lord of Prayer to deal with each other as soon as possible, so much energy might not have been used. But it is an assassination after all. If the other party reacts and hides back in his own military formation, it will not be that simple to kill him again. And through this battle of just a few seconds, he also realized how strong his side's combat effectiveness was. Overall, not too bad. I hope that the income this secret realm will bring me in the end will satisfy me. Lin Luo followed the abominations of the undead creatures that emitted waves of stench, slowly passed through the many barracks, and walked into the Tomb of Heroes. In the underground chamber of Tomb of Heroes, Lin Luo met 5 necromancers from the witch cult and a strange woman wearing a red wedding dress and a red hijab. Judging from her slim and graceful body, she has a good figure, but I don't know what kind of face she has under the red hijab. When a legendary assassin like me gets close, these 6 mages can die 10,000 times in an instant. But now is not the time to kill them. If you kill them, you may directly clear the secret realm. It is better to use the trick first to see what the ashes of the mourners are and where they are. Lin Luo was followed by 2 battle avatars, Kaguya Princess and Black Emperor, standing in front of them arrogantly. Several people on the other side were also looking at this rare chosen one who had multiple heroic spirits. The atmosphere in the underground palace was a little solemn for a while. Lin Luo didn't speak, simply because he didn't know what to say, for fear of revealing his secret if he opened his mouth. Finally, the woman in the wedding dress spoke first and broke the calm. Just listen to her voice, which is charming and moving, like a silver bell. Dear envoy, thank you for your help. Did you bring any important instructions when you came here? Order. I have an order for Jill to bring. You guys brought me in, okay. Lin Luo muttered helplessly in his heart, and suddenly a flash of light flashed in his mind. He immediately put his hands behind his back in a pretentious manner, and then asked in a pretentious manner, what else can be done? How did you go about the things you were told by the higher authorities? Upon hearing this, several necromancers hiding in black robes looked at each other. One of them immediately stood up and said respectfully, Your Majesty the Messenger. After 10 days of rituals, we have initially completed the refining of the frost dragon. Take me to see it. Lin Luo waved his hand and directly turned against the customer. Now is the time to test his acting skills. Not only do you have to pretend to be bossy, but you also have to follow every link without giving the other party time to think. If he doesn't perform well and is exposed, he will have no choice but to react and kill indiscriminately. As for the result of doing so, it is unclear how much reward you will get in the end. After all, he doesn't know the details of the strategy now, nor does he know how the completely chaotic plot will develop. Seeing that the other party was so direct, several necromancers became less suspicious of the airborne messenger. Then please, Master Messenger, come with me. The woman in a red wedding dress was silent for a moment before taking the lead and walking deep into the underground chamber of the Tomb of Heroes. The walls on both sides of the passage were lit with everlasting lamps, emitting bright light and illuminating the narrow passage in front of them. Several people were silent for a while, and there were only clear footsteps in the passage. Soon, they came to an underground hall, where the light was slightly dimmer. In the middle of the hall, there was a large circle of necromancers wearing gray robes. Their hands danced, and waves of cold power emanated from their bodies. And among them, a huge monster loomed. When Lin Luo walked in, he was surprised to find out. This dragon-shaped monster made of bones is as tall as 3 or 4 people just lying down, and the bone spurs on its back are reaching the top of the hall. The wings growing on the left and right sides of the skeletal body are about 10 meters long. The huge dragon skull, just sticking to the ground quietly, gives people a kind of spiritual shock and pressure. This monster is the boss of this secret realm. It can't be that its aura is only level 35, right? After all, Lin Luo was reborn from the future. Although he was not very strong at the beginning, he had seen many monsters of this level. He could tell at a glance that once the skeletal dragon revived, it would definitely be a boss close to level 40, and it would not be something that ordinary level 30 to 35 players could easily defeat. Yes, thank you for your hard work. How long will it take for this frost dragon to be refined? The bosses are already urging me. Lin Luo nodded with pretended satisfaction, like a leader who came to urge his subordinates to work. Report to the respected envoy. This frost dragon will take about 2 days to be completely refined. Originally, we were worried that the arrival of the Second Temple Legion would bring us trouble. Now with your help, Lord Messenger, we can finally refine it with peace of mind. A necromancer lifted up, revealing an old face, with a flattering smile on his face, and the wrinkles were squeezed together, like a withered chrysanthemum. Lin Luo nodded noncommittally. It seems that this frost dragon is not originally the boss in this secret realm. Unless the players who come in are too weak and allow these witch cult people to completely refine the frost dragon, the final result will definitely be death. By the way, where are the ashes of the mourners? I consumed a lot of energy in the battle just now, and I need to replenish it now. Lin Luo looked at the people waiting for instructions and asked directly. He doesn't care when the frost dragon will be refined, he only cares about where the thing he wants most is. Mourn the ashes of the deceased. The old mage, who had an ugly smile on his face, stiffened after hearing this, and said with some hesitation, Lord Messenger, there is not much left of the ashes of the mourner in refining the frost dragon. Are there not many left? Although Lin Luo was a little confused, he still said calmly, get it for me first. Several necromancers immediately walked into the circle and took back 5 black open wooden boxes. There are some gray crystal particles inside. Lin Luo reached out and gently grabbed some, and immediately felt a magical power injected into his body from the crystal powder. And his substitute's energy began to slowly recover. Mourn the ashes of the deceased. Quantity: 1 serving. Effect: slowly restore 100 energy points of the avatar. Is that all there is? Lin Luo glanced around and saw that Wuffen could only restore 500 energy points. He spent 358 energy points just to kill the Templar Legion commander. He would spend energy to kill these people later, and there would be no profit at all. Lord Messenger, ashes of the mourners are an important part of refining Frost Dragon, and now these are the only ones left. The necromancer with an ugly smile sounded a little embarrassed. Can the ashes of the deceased continue to be refined? Lin Luo didn't give up and continued to ask. At this time, the woman who had been standing quietly by the side spoke, Sir Messenger, if you want to refine ashes of the dead, it will slow down the progress of the task of refining Frost Dragon. Lin Luo waved his hand and said without question, stop refining Frost Dragon first, and give me all your strength to refine ashes of the dead first. But you don't have to worry. As long as you refine it carefully and meet the amount I need, you can continue your original mission. Several necromancers looked at each other, obviously this was contrary to their main mission. What the hell, how dare you disobey my orders? Lin Luo didn't give them time to react and shouted directly. The Black Emperor and Kagaya behind him slowly took a step forward. Don't dare, sir, don't blame me. Several necromancers were so bluff that they quickly apologized and then hurriedly ran to summon their subordinates. Stop what you are doing for a moment and refine the ashes of the deceased for the envoy. The gray-robed necromancers immediately made a commotion for a while, then obediently divided up to move the bodies of the heroes buried underground. Lin Luo nodded with satisfaction. Frost Dragon is refined for what? Are you going to cause trouble for him by refining it? Just be obedient and refine the ashes of the dead for me. However, he did not notice that as the people in the hall became busy, the woman in the bright red wedding dress also disappeared deeper into the ground among the crowd. It would be troublesome to work without ghouls to help. Stop complaining, our undead army is all up there fighting with those imperial eagles and dogs. What a mess this envoy has done. Our great necromancers are actually forced to move corpses and do hard work. Shish, you don't want your life. Some of the 20 or 30 necromancers were moving the corpses, and some had already begun to cast necromancy spells and refine the corpses. Lin Luo was supervising the work and saw some clues after watching for a while. Although the heroes of the Empire who were dragged out of the coffins were dead, some powerful power still remained in their bodies. After refining with special necromancy spells, you will get ashes of the dead, and this prop has the effect of slowly restoring the energy of the avatar. On average, one copy of the ashes of the deceased can be refined in about an hour. This speed is a bit slow. Lin Luo calculated in his mind that it didn't matter if he had a late meal, but he had to plunder Guo Dao's talent at night. He couldn't stay here all the time, right? Thanks for watching. Please like and subscribe.